This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Hello, Sydney. What is your favorite scary movie? It is Scream 4.
Place to Be Nation Pop Experience. Welcome to today's edition of the movie review of the day. I am Andy Atherton, back here with you in the midst of our latest theme week. This week, we are all about the Scream franchise, with Scream 7 coming out on February 27th of this year. We are covering all 6 Scream movies. This theme week is actually going to bleed in, pardon the pun, going to bleed into next week on Monday with Scream 6. We are going in order of release, so you are hearing this on Thursday of the week that we are covering it. So, so this, I don't know if I mentioned this, so this is from 2011. This was a return to the Scream franchise after being, it was the last movie before it was 2000. And then we don't see another Scream movie for another 11 years after this. So I love the Scream franchise. We did an episode of Blockbuster Rewind about it, I believe. If you go back through the archives, you should find it there. And this is probably, next to the original, my favorite of all of them. Scream 2 is just behind it because I love the killers in that movie. I think they're like probably the best ones. And this one, this had me guessing until the end. We kind of knew. Like, well, first of all, spoiler alert. I'm gonna spoil this. I mean, there's not gonna be a non-spoiler. We're spoiling this. This movie came out 15 years ago. Okay. So, back to my ranking. So, I don't really love Scream 3. I think it's fine. I think it's got some good kills in it. And it's funny too because I'm not the biggest horror movie fan, but I do love this franchise. It's only as good really as the villain and the plot and how plausible it could be, right? I mean, and then 5 and 6, I like both of them. I thought they were very good. Some nice twists and turns with people who you think are dead or not dead. So this installment stars, of course, we have the trio returns for this one since, Dewey is now dead in the film series. But we have Neve Campbell as Sydney, Courtney Cox as Gail, Dave Arquette as Dewey, and then we have some new people joining the cast, like the Next Generation, which really focused around the character Jill Prescott, played by Emma Roberts, who, we returned to Woodsboro for the first time since the original movie. Like, Scream 2 took place at the college. I forgot what university it was. Scream 3 takes place in California. So we are back in Woodsboro here. We also have Hayden Panettiere as Kirby Reed. We have Marielle Jaffe as Olivia Morris, Eric Knudsen as Robbie Mercer, and Kieran Culkin as Charlie. And then we have other people joining the cast, like Marley Shelton as Deputy Hicks, Alison Brie as Rebecca Walters. We have an appearance by Adam Brody and Anthony Anderson as cops. So this is, a really fun movie, and it's like it's like a reinvention, right? It's a reboot of the series, if you will, because we're introducing, it's like, in Scream 2, they established the rules, right? Randy, who was our audience, explained things to us, was responsible for giving us facts and things like that about horror movies. Anybody's eligible to die. So it's like every time you see a new Scream movie come out, you're like, all right, when is Sydney? When is Gail? When is Dewey? When are they all going to die? And there are close calls in all of them for some of them. I mean, I believe Dewey dies in Scream 5. I think he dies in the next one. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. But the start of this movie is really cool because we have, established in universe that the Stab movies are based on what's happening in these Scream movies in this universe, right? And we're up to like Stab, I think 8 is like it's the next one, and they have like the big Stabathon that happens later on with the movie marathon. But in the beginning, it starts off, we have, I believe it's Lucy Hale and Shanae Grimes as these two characters, and it turns out they both get killed because every Scream movie starts off with kind of not a big name person getting killed. Like we had Drew Barrymore in the first one. We had Jada Pinkett and Omar Epps getting killed in the beginning of 2. 3, it was Cotton Weary's character gets killed off, Leah Schreiber. So in this one, so first we see Lucy Hale and Sinead Grimes die, right? And they actually are not in the Scream franchise. They're in Stab 6. Then we have a scene with another 2 actresses, Kristen Bell and Anna Paquin. And it turns out, they're kind of like talking. It was kind of like meta, like talking, in movie where and Kristen Bell that turns around and stabs, Anna Paquin, and she dies obviously. And it turns out that was actually Stab 7, and we get 2 more people watching, and it was I believe Britt Roberts and Amy Teagarden, and they are actually the ones that get killed in the beginning of this Scream movie. And we move on. We get introduced to the new generation, and it kind of follows. They want you. Here's the thing: they kind of want you to believe that they're going to follow the same, a very similar plot line of the first Scream movie, and it doesn't really happen that way exactly, right? And so the movie goes into different areas, but this actually turned out to be the last film directed by Wes Craven, who passes away from cancer between I forgot what year did he passed away in 2015. So he did stay with us for a little while longer, but it's kind of it combines violence as a slasher genre with elements of black comedy and whodunit, but it also, this one really satirizes the cliche of film remakes and also provides commentary on the extensive usage of social media and the obsession with internet fame. So the plot of this movie is it's the 15th anniversary week of the original Woodsboro murders. High school students Marty Cooper and Jenny Randall are murdered by Ghostface. That was Amy Teagarden and Robertson. Sidney Prescott then returns to Woodsboro the following day to promote her self-help book with her publicist, Rebecca Walters, played by Allison Brie. After evidence is found in a rental car, Sidney becomes a prime suspect in the murders and must stay in town until they are solved. We got Sidney's teenage cousin, Jill Roberts, who is coping with the infidelity of her ex-boyfriend, Trevor Shelton. Sheldon gets a threatening phone call from Ghostface, as does her friend Olivia Morris. Jill and Olivia, along with their friend Kirby, are questioned about their calls by Dewey, now the county sheriff, which also, while he deputizes Judy Hicks, Anthony Perkins, and Ross Haas to assist him with the case. Gail Weathers then shows up, who is struggling with writer's block, decides to investigate the murders against her husband's wishes. That night, as Sidney stays over with Jill and her Aunt Kate, Olivia is brutally murdered by Ghostface as Jill and Kirby watch in horror from across the street. Sidney then herself is confronted by Ghostface, and they fight until Ghostface is forced to flee while Perkins and Haas arrive. So obviously you're going to see one of our, really this movie is Jill is the main character, right? She is the center of it. Of course, you're going to see like one of her friends is going to die fairly early. I kind of had a feeling Kirby wasn't going to die early on because Hayden Panettiere was a pretty hot name at the time. And you have to have something to set off like the new real set. I mean, we had the first 2 die, but that was kind of like just kind of in the beginning, like they weren't really close to our main character. So then, we get they go to the hospital. Sidney fires Rebecca after learning of her desire to exploit the murders to increase book sales. Rebecca is then murdered by Ghostface in a pretty gnarly kill where she gets stabbed and then thrown off the top of the parking garage and lands on a car during Dewey's press conference. Gail then enlists the help of 2 high school cinephiles, Charlie Walker and Robbie Mercer. Charlie theorized that the killer is following the rules of the horror remakes, and Gail and Sidney must conclude that the killer will likely strike at the Stabathon, which is held by a cinema club. Not a movie society, it's a cinema club. So then it's held in a barn where teenagers gather to binge watch all 7 installments of the Stab franchise. Gail sneaks into the party to investigate, but Ghostface attacks her, stabbing her in the shoulder. Haas and Perkins, who were assigned to guard Jill's house, were also murdered. They get taken out pretty fairly easily. I mean, they have the element of surprise, but I mean, the kill on Anthony Anderson's character, I think it's Haas is his character. He gets stabbed right in the forehead, and he hangs on for a minute until he ultimately dies. But that's a gnarly kill in the franchise. Then Sidney discovers through another taunting call from Ghostface that Jill has left for Kirby's before Ghostface attacks her and Kate, killing the latter. Another great kill, a very inventive one, where Ghostface is attacking the two, and they shut the door, and Kate is leaned out, played by the great Mary McCormick. Actually, Lauren Graham was actually supposed to play her, but she dropped out early into filming. And this kill is pretty good because Kate is up there, and she gets stabbed through the mail slot. You just hear a shh, and you just see her like stop and sit up, and then blood comes out of her thing. I mean, it's a pretty inventive kill. So then we get to the party, which is kind of similar to Stu's party at the end of the first Scream. And we get Jill, Kirby, Charlie, Robbie, and Trevor all arrive for the after party at Kirby's house when Ghostface strikes, killing a drunken Robbie outside who tries to use the cliche "I'm gay," in horror movies because they don't die apparently. If you look at the cliche, they usually survive. And then Sidney arrives to leave with Jill, but they are then both chased by Ghostface. As Sidney calls Dewey to tries to find Jill, Kirby frees Charlie, who is bound and gagged outside, but he immediately stabs her, revealing himself as Ghostface before leaving her to bleed out. So we never see Kirby die. I love the reveal of Charlie. Like, I knew it was going to be Charlie. I suspected him from the beginning, but I do love the kill. Like when Kirby gets him, and it's like this is making a move, and he kind of says it doesn't happen as fast as it does in the movies, and per Kirby, right? And then Sidney is then confronted by Charlie and a second Ghostface who reveals herself to be Jill, which I started to think that too. It was like, it's one of those, like, you try to feel like you're smarter than the writers kind of deal. And she admits to masterminding the murderers out of jealousy of the fame that Sidney received for surviving the previous killing sprees and their desire to achieve clout as a pseudo-victim of the murders, intending to frame Trevor as Ghostface. So they try to make it, the modern day Billy and Stu, and she kills Trevor. First of all, he's been beat up, he's tied up, and she shoots him in the balls, right, really almost like literally shoots his penis off, and then shoots him in the head. So she made him like suffer. She's like, I am not the girl you cheat on, and look, talk about jilted lovers, jeez. And then it reveals that her and Charlie were like together, I guess. Although Charlie thinks one thing and she thinks another, because they try to make it seem like that Randy Charlie is a little obsessed with the original murders, right? Because he thinks he's Randy, and this time Randy's going to get the girl. But and I guess they had rehearsed how they were going to do it, and Jill actually betrays Charlie and stabs him to death to pin him as Trevor's accomplice, so she could be the sole survivor. She then stabs Sidney and injures herself to frame Trevor further. Yeah, so she stabs Sidney, thinking that she kills her, and then you just see Jill she really messes herself up to make it believable that she was attacked and survived. I mean, she throws herself into a picture, she stabs herself, up against the wall, she drives the knife into her shoulder, and she goes through a glass coffee. I mean, she messes herself up pretty good. So then Dewey and the police arrive, and Sidney and Jill are taken to the hospital after discovering that Sidney has survived. And enraged, Jill goes to her hospital room to make a final attempt to kill her. At the same time, Dewey and Gail figure out that Jill was one of the killers due to a comment she made about Gail's attack that was not public knowledge. Dewey and Gail and Judy rush to aid Sidney, but Jill subdues him. So Dewey gets hit in the head pretty hard with a bedpan. And then, Hicks, who I was convinced she was one of the killers for a while, because she was, I don't know, you may think like she maybe had a thing for Dewey. So, she survives barely because she had a bulletproof vest on. And then Gail and Sidney kind of work together to, outsmart Jill, and they kill her with the paddles, this is, clear kind of thing. And, as they have survived many of these, they do know that you never trust anybody to be dead. You shoot him, make sure you get that fatal blow just to be sure. During the commotion, Sydney's able to electrocute Jill with a defibrillator shooter and then shoots her in the heart, finally killing her. As Dewey calls for backup, reporters outside erroneously named Jill as the hero right out of the movies. So I thought the twists and turns were in it. It had really good kills. I thought it really breathed some new life into the franchise. I mean, obviously, most of the new characters were killed in this movie, so we don't know what direction they are going. And we actually get another group of new people when we get to Scream 5 about 10 years later. But definitely, I would say I rank this up there as very high. It did well at the box office. It made almost $100 million here domestically against a budget of actually for a total gross. It was almost $100 million worldwide. It had a budget of $40 million, made $38 million domestically, $59 million overseas. I mean, I thought it was, it was a little disappointing, right, in terms of box office at the time. But I thought it was a really good, I mean, you have to look about what it was up against. I mean, Rio was out at the time, which was a big kids movie. Rotten Tomatoes gave it 61%. Roger Ebert at the time gave it 2 out of 4 stars. Empire gave the film 2 out of 5 stars. People thought it was dated, too many cliches. But I actually really do like the movie, right? I think it's a fun one. I think it was a really good entry into the franchise. And it's one of those, when it's on Flippin' Channels, I will tune into it. So, and I'm very excited to see Scream 7. All right, well, I hope that you all enjoyed this look as my cat snores in the background, so I apologize if you hear him too highly here. But I love the franchise. I hope it still goes well as long as it's still entertaining, right? Who knows how long Sydney and Gail are going to be. I think Gail is definitely on the chopping block in the new one. I think Sydney may survive, although they introduced her daughter, so they may transition to her daughter as being the main character if they do more movies from her. And I'm excited. So what do you think? Do you want us to do more franchise-like weeks like this? Comment below in the section. And don't forget to check out everything else we got going on here in the PlayStation Pop Experience. And I hope you do enjoy this series that we're doing here. And we'll see you on the next one. So take care.
Hello, Sydney.